All right, let's start tearing apart the driver's front brake caliper. So it uses a, what I'm using, what is it? 3/8 Allen. So I'm using a 3/8 Allen. Break it loose a little bit. And go down to the bottom one. Break it loose a little bit. There we go. Well, I'm gonna get these off, clean them up, and then I'm gonna rebuild the brake caliper. Like I said earlier, in a previous video, these brake shoes, they look brand new. If not, they're real close to it. So I'm gonna go the least expensive route right now on cleaning these up, getting them working. But in the future, if I find that there's a need or a want, I'm not afraid to spend a couple bucks on some better calipers. I've just how I drive vehicles, and it's 99.9999% on the road. I've never exceeded the ability of the vehicle's stock stuff. Okay, this one's the bottom one. I'll remember that. That one's the bottom one. Now, if you take it to track days and you're putting heat in it, and I'm gonna assume that you're probably gonna fade the brakes with your stock stuff and want to get something a little bit better. For what I use and what I do, it would purely and solely be aesthetics and bragging. Hey, I got this, or look at that, that looks cool. And there's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of the stuff we get, now if I break this, I might have to get a new they're on there tight. There we go. These brake shoes have been sitting there for a minute. I just got to get underneath the... I should replace the brake shoes though, huh? Well, I'll see. When I get off, I'll see them. Yeah. Okay. There's one down. So I got one set of one caliper off. There's kind of, well, let's see if there's any play. Got good bearings. So yeah, these, I remember doing this one shortly after I got the car, because I think I had a warped rotor. And this came from the junkyard. And it even has the writing on it, Ventura. So it came off of a Pontiac Ventura. Ironically enough, I had a 73 Pontiac Ventura. And they're like Novas with the Pontiac version. So a lot of these things interchange with each other. The Novas, F-body cars. So this is what I got for this rotor. And I'm trying to remember, I might have had a grooved rotor. It's been so long I can't even remember. But in any case, these rotors are getting replaced. Look how nice that turns. And there's no play in it, so we're good. I'm probably just going to clean out, take that apart, clean the bearings out, repack them. You know what? I'm probably just going to get new brake pads too, because look at these brake pads. They're a little grooved. And you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that the old rotor was grooved. They grooved these, and then I just put these back on. So what I'm going to do, that the inboard one is not that grooved, it's the outboard one. And you can see the mess I've got here. Rust. Oh. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this up, and then I'm going to end up taking this off. So I got this off and cleaned up. That's locked in solid as hell. I've freaking heated it up. I've soaked it, tried to twist it. And then looking at the back of it, that's all rusted on the inside here, which doesn't really matter, but you can see the rust on this inner lip, and if that's going to be rubbing up against this gasket, I'm going to need another one of these pistons, which just keeps adding money. So what I'm going to do is just, this is still warm. What I'm going to do is just go ahead and buy a couple of these stock ones. Replace it. I didn't want to, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. I don't want to sit here and spend too much time with it trying to get that bleeder valve out. And on top of that, when the piston comes out, I know it's going to be a little rusty on the gasket side or the rubber side, and it's going to need cleaning, replacing, and so I'm just going to call it on those, and I'll just start working on taking this off and cleaning, repacking bearings and putting the new rotors on. So I'll have to go order some brake calipers. Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for right now. I'm gonna get back to it and put this stuff away. All right. Since brake caliper didn't go as planned, I'll just start taking off the rotor. Break off the grease cap here. And hopefully, since I had taken this off, well, I'm going to say recently, but recently to me. Right, oh, there we go. Recently to put the cap down there. Yeah, you can tell I had a little bit of grease there. Straighten up the cotter pin. Yeah, this is a fairly good cotter pin. Hey, pull that sucker out. Come on now. Don't. All right. See, this is where you use the hammer. Pull that sucker out just like that. Put it in the cap. These are them crappy channel locks that I've got. You know, I always complain about things and then I'll never take action on it because once I get past it, I'll like, okay, I'll suck it up again. Oh, shoot, that's what I was trying to prevent. I was trying to get it far enough out to where it didn't fall. But, yeah, this, I don't know what grease I used. So the washer's on the outboard side. Then the bearing. Yeah, it's a good bearing. I may have even replaced it. I just can't remember. But it's a good bearing. Probably one of the last times things were actually made in the United States. Yep, made in USA. It's just too bad what our politicians have done to our country. And I'm not even picking a side. I think they're all guilty of selling our country out. You tell me how many times you go to a store and you try to get something, you can't find it. Find something made here in America. It's all made in some other country. Puts our people out of work. We lose innovation. We lose a lot of things. Okay. You know what oh shoot. So that seal comes out, but there we go. There we go. There's the seal. I don't even think I damaged it too much, but I'll get a new one. Goes in. So I'm not going to sit here and have you bored with me cleaning this. I just took this apart. And now I've got to go assess the other, go look at the other rotors and just see if they've got races. I'm hoping they have races. So if they have races, then the only thing I need to get is a new seal. So, all right, guys, let me let you go, and I'm gonna take off these greasy gloves before I start touching my cameras, and then I'll bring you back in a little bit. All right, got it all cleaned up on this side. I ordered the 2 new calipers. They should be in the next probably Monday or Tuesday, I'd imagine. They've already been shipped. Got this all cleaned up, painted it. I got the shield painted up. So I'm gonna take these bolts out, because I put the bolts in while I was painting just so that I wouldn't get paint in the threads. And then I got the shield, and the shield let's see, I think it goes like this. Yeah, it goes like that. So I painted the front and back with heat paint, and there's a little gasket that goes on the inside here. I think I could probably clean that gasket up real quick, and then clean the gasket up, and I'll just slide it on there. But yeah, the caliper piston kind of threw a wrench into things. At least how quick I thought I was going to have this done. And that's all right. So my oldest boy, he's finally turning wrenches now. Did his brakes, replaced his brakes on his car in the parking lot of his apartment. So kudos to him for branching out. I mean, nowadays you bring anything, and you guys know this, you bring anything through a shop, one, you got to trust the shop that they're just not going to slap it together and it won't be other problems. But on top of that, you're going to be paying through the nose, depending on where you take it to. Typically, freaking your price is 75–80% labor, and then, oh, by the way, the part costs $5. So if you have time and you have the ability, just tackle it. Now, if you don't have time and don't have ability, well, that's a judgment call. But you don't get the ability without tackling it and trying it. And my dad, he refused to take his cars to the shop while I was growing up. He did everything himself. So I've seen him in the wintertime tear out transmissions out of a car that the tooth on the ring gear had chipped. I've seen him tear down cars all the way, put them back together. I've seen him take my mom's old 70 Buick Skylark, and this was back in the 70s, and he stripped all the paint off and painted it like Starsky and Hutch, except for the fact that it wasn't red and white. it was brown and tan. But anyway, yeah, if you want to do it, just get out and do it. You'll figure it out. Sometimes the drawback or the holdback, other than the knowledge or the fear of not learning, is tools. Because you might not always have the tools you need to do a certain thing. And you know, there are things that require a special tool to do something, and then the likelihood you ever using that tool again will probably be slim to none. But there you make a judgment call on it. But there we go. Get that all cleaned up. And then I'll put this little rubber gasket on it, which was in good shape, just dirty. And then I take this shield and then it goes on like that. There we go. This one up here was a boogered the first time, getting it off. It's like it was like that the head had been mushroomed out a little bit in it. All right, so what I need to do is pack those bearings, clean those bearings and pack them with grease. All right guys, I got everything in. I'm gonna start packing the bearings, and then from there I'll just start putting this wheel assembly together on the driver's side. Put a little bit in your hand and just start jamming it into and work it around. Just start shoving it in so it gets into all those little needles and starts coming out the top. When it starts coming out the top, you know you've got good bearing grease stuck in there. That's the key, just to make sure that you don't want a dry bearing, because, well, you'll be doing this again, putting a new bearing in. I tell you, this car, when I first started out, I thought, a couple dollars here and there, and I knew where I was going with the quarter panels and things like that. But all the little things just nickel and dime you. Well, nickel and dime you if you want to. Yeah, I guess you can go cheaper. Yeah, I guess you can go cheaper. But when I see something that doesn't look right, I tend to want to freaking fix it. Which ain't a bad thing, but it is not a cheap thing either. Now let's put some grease on this. Get it all kind of lubed up, you never know. So these rotors that I got, they're slotted and drilled, and I wasn't sure which way they went, and I looked at the box, and the box said, these are the rotors, and the box had one that was a name, like a number, then R, and then a number, then L. So my assumption was L, left and right. But this slotted rotor said right, and the other one said L, which would make this one on that side. However, when I double checked it online just to see, to make sure that I was doing it right, what they said was, and I checked multiple sources, is that you want these slots facing back. So when you put it on like that, if they're facing back, that's the way you want it, just like that. If these slots are facing forward, like you'll see on the other one, that's the wrong way. You want them facing back. So that was an easy way to look at it initially, and just, all right, let me go get my other gloves on, because I had that grease on everything. What would we do with all this fancy stuff? I know what we'd be. We'd be greasy. I'd have grease everywhere. All right. So I'm gonna take this. Let me just put a little bit on there. Spin that around in there, so I don't put it in. A little bit. Oh shoot! Stick that sucker in just like that. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna pile on a little extra on the back side, just in case it gets thirsty while we're driving down the road. You don't want your bearings getting thirsty. So that's right here. This is I got this at, where did I get this? Oh, this one was at O'Reilly's, but you can see the number there. What's he? 8871 seal. So this is the inner one. Just kind of. So there's two ways you don't want. You really can't put it any other way. It's kind of almost idiot proof. But with any of these wipers, you want it to be able to hold the stuff in there. And the way this is, it's got a lip on it, so it's going to seat down in it. Like you can see the lip. It's going to go down in this way. Let me just put a little bit of grease love on that seal. So I'm telling you, I don't know if anyone ever said don't put too much of grease on a. There's a lot of things you don't want excess of. And I guess you could put excess on it to the point where it's just slinging it everywhere. But there we go. Now wipe my hand off a little bit. And I take this hammer and just hold the one end down and just easy tap it in. Kind of go around. The important part here, one, you don't want to bend it or contort it, and the other thing is you don't want to hit that rubber seal. You're really just trying to hit the outside of the, tapping it around nice and easy. It'll go in. Just got to give it a little love. Okay, there we go. Now the grease, you can see the grease itself just held that thing on. But what I'm going to do, it's going to get down here on the floor. You got to fall down before you get down. All right, I'm going to throw more grease in there. Oops. Got a little cocky with that, didn't I? I got a little cocky with it. Trust me, they're going to let you know when you get a little cocky. It does. It'll let you know. Oh, it's like taffy. All right, let me get that other bearing. Get off that. Get off it now. All right. There's the other bearing. Put a little bit more of that Go Juice on it. You know, when you're crawling the mall parking lot, you don't want to spin a bearing. When you go into the, oh, there we go. You're having car night over at Culver's. You don't want to be throwing a bearing. All right, so this has got, where's that groove at? Okay, it's got a groove on it. I mean a keyway, so it helps it slide on. Doop. And then the castle nut with the castle piece up, or out, I should say. And then we're just gonna kind of, we've got to seat these bearings in. Now this cap, oh boy. This cap, I see people put grease in it, and I have done it too. I wonder if it even really matters. I mean, it's not like, but you know what? Might as well just do it, right? I'm just not sure, like, how much it really matters that you put grease in this cap. Maybe it just keeps that grease from flowing out. And there we go. So we'll put that there for right now, because I still got to tighten this sucker down. Where are we at? Get my rag and wipe off all the excess grease off my hand. I usually like to seat them down till they won't or hardly turn, and then back off a little bit, just to make sure it's all, see, now it's tight, and then back off a little bit. That way you kind of know. You also got to back up to the I don't want to go too tight, but that looks good right there. There we go. I should shut up before so I'm over here saying what it should do. It's just letting me know what it's gonna do. All right. Let's see, girl. There we go. There we go. It just didn't want to go. That's all right. And I'm going to put this cap on. Tap it. There we go. So I have one side rotor on. Now I'm just waiting for the other side. And then we'll do the other side, how I'll do it off camera so you don't have to sit through this menagerie. All right, I got my calipers in. I was thinking about painting them, but they look like they're already painted. They're gray, but that'll be fine. They're just not the raw stuff, so that works for me. I think this one is, yeah, this one's left. So this is left. It's got a screw in it holding it until I can put the line on it, so it's holding that closed. It's got the bleeder valve. Comes with the two bolts, and I bought some brake shoes. So this is the inboard one. There's two brake shoes. One's a little longer than the other one. The longer one, let's see, make sure that they're longer. Yeah, it's a little longer. But this one goes on the inboard one. And then it's got a clip on here that goes, I believe it goes like that. Clip that on. There we go. So it'll be just like that. Clips on. Just gotta put a little bit of grease on the back side of here. Keep it from squeaking. Not too much, just a little coat. And this right here, hold on, where's it at? This thing right here, that's basically your tattletale. So when it gets, the pad comes down, when it's wearing, when it gets to that, you'll start hearing that squeak up against the rotor. That's how you know you gotta, and sometimes you think you're hearing it, but it's actually just dust or dirt. on your rotor, but if you start hearing it pretty squeak. So back when I was younger, so probably, shoot, 30 years ago maybe, I had an 84 Trans Am WS6, 5-speed, red with gray interior. They had a 305 high output motor. But I was driving it back and forth to work when I was living out in California. And the brakes started squeaking. And I was, it'll go away, what is it? Whatever. It did go away. But what happened was, it went away because that little tab indicator broke off. And when it broke off, the squeaking stopped. So I never did change the brakes when I should have changed them. So then what happened was, finally, it started squeaking again, but worse, and it was grooving. And then when I did finally take it off, what happened was the rivets had gone all the way through to the rotor and grooved it so bad that I had to replace rotors, brake pads, the whole 9 yards. So you think you're gonna put off a little bit of maintenance now, you'll get you. You'll damn sure get you. I don't know why this is not sliding on the way it should be sliding on. These little tabs help keep it clicked on, but it might be just bent in too much. This thing doesn't fit as nice as I'd like it to fit. It's kind of just hangs in there, and I guess we're kind of hoping it just stays there. Get it up onto the rotor. Hold it in place. Oh, you know what's good about this? It's new. So the piston's already pushed back. Wiggle it around a little bit. Get it started. What size? Yeah, it's a 3/8 Allen wrench bolt socket is what I'm using. Both these bolts were greased from the factory. They had pretty good grease on them, so I didn't. There we go. Goes nice and smooth because why? The piston's not out. Pistons are still sucked in. So now I'm going to take this little bit of duct tape off, or not duct tape, masking tape. And I put that there just to keep stuff and dirt from going in there. Anytime you can start something by hand, it's a good thing, because then your chances of cross-threading it are significantly reduced. So back here, there's a tab right there, there's a tab right here, and there's a tab on the other side. So this is going to go flat on the other crush washer that's underneath there, and then this right here comes up through here, and what I was doing was just clocking it so that it wouldn't rub up here. So there, that's this side, and I'll just go do the other side. And I probably won't film that side because it's as simple as this. Well, I finally got the brakes bled, and let me tell you how I did it. After a couple of times trying, I was trying to use this There's my dog, my little puppy. He's a little 7-month-old. So my brake bleeder here, it works off vacuum and pump. So I put it in the farthest from the master cylinder and pumped it. It worked a little bit, but it wasn't working efficiently. I was still getting air bubbles. So what I did was, and this worked out perfect, one-man show, and it took me probably, maybe 45 minutes. The longest, remember, all my lines are brand new. All the calipers and brake cylinders are brand new, so you really had to flush fluid through everything. But it took the longest to get, obviously, from here to the passenger back, and that's the first one you do because it is the longest. So you do that one, and then you do this back one, driver's side, then the passenger, and then the driver's side front. And the only exception to that would probably be if you had a, what's that, the brake system, ABS. If you have an ABS and your unit is somewhere in the back, that kind of changes things up, but we're talking old stuff with no ABS. But anyway, what I did is I took this water bottle, that hose, I would connect it to the fitting, crack it open, and then I'd have my line vertical so that air would go up and it wouldn't get trapped in there. And then what I did is I set my phone up, started videoing, went inside, hit the brake pedal, also keeping track of my fluids to make sure my fluids weren't going low. And then each time I would look at my videos of my brake and look at the bubbles, watch the bubbles. Is the bubbles coming up or the bubbles slowing down? And once I figured out that, hey, there's no more bubbles, I locked it up and moved on to the second one. Now, it is rock solid. Hitting the brake, it's rock solid. Now, obviously I haven't driven it, but you can tell just by hitting the brake that there's very little give in the brake pedal. So I'm happy and satisfied with that. So I'm going to wrap up the brakes in its entirety, and then I'm going to move on probably to my fuel system. Look at this guy. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're destroying all the balls? Yep. You're destroying all the balls? You got stuff in your eyes. Let me see. There you go. Yeah, he's just a puppy. He's like 7.5 months old now. We've been working on playing fetch and bringing the ball back. He does pretty good catching the ball, bringing it back. He hasn't perfected bringing it to me exactly. He brings it 10 feet away from me, kind of throws it on the ground and says, "You come get it." So I'm working on it, but he's doing really good. But yeah, so that's what's next is my fuel system. And then once I get my fuel system in there, the car could, well, no, that's not true. After my fuel system in, I got to get a radiator for it. I'll probably just get one of those cold case radiators or something. Put the radiator in, and then that way I can at least back it up, drive it, clean this area of the garage up and pull it back in. I can put it back up on jack stands and continue on. And the only reason I want it up on jack stands is because I like how it sits up off the ground. It's easy for me to work on. It's better than freaking having it sit down near the ground, and especially when you come to sanding and everything like that, I won't be busting my back so much. But all right, guys, yeah, I'm going to close this video out. My brakes are done. I haven't seen any leaks yet. Meaning I don't think I'll have any. Like I said, I was reading that stainless steel brake lines are, well, obviously stainless steel is harder than copper or what's that other material made of. So you have to really seat those fittings in just to keep them from leaking. You don't want to overdo it, because you damn sure don't want to freaking strip it out or crack one of those fittings. But you do have to kind of cinch it down and get it done. And you do it, test it. If it leaks, crank it a little bit more, test it. But all right, guys, that's it for now. And then let me get back to cleaning up, and then we'll do probably the fuel. I got to order a fuel tank, so I'll do the fuel tank next. All right, guys.